Hey everybody, I'd like to share with you some background as to how I got here. I want to share my story. Let me start by saying that I do have mental issues and they stem from the following. I watched my father that I loved drink himself into a stupor every day as a child. Then he would beat the shit out of my mother that I loved and then beat me. I still remember hiding behind the couch, being as quiet as I could so he couldn't find or see me. I would watch my mother get beat in front of me, her hot coffee thrown on her, see her nose bleeding. My father broke my femur and my arm, and I lied for him to the police to protect him. My father abused me both physically and emotionally, always talking down to me. I lived in constant fear as a child growing up and never felt safe or loved except by my grandmother, Erin St. Marie. She saved my life. I have since forgiven my father in my heart because I know that he was only doing what he was taught to do and acting out his pain, and I love him very much. My mother was completely checked out emotionally and mentally in order to survive. I don't blame her, and I love her very much. She still blames herself to this day. I know that she did this in order to survive, and I love her very much. We were poor, and there were times I had to go fishing when I was 6 to 8 years old, clean the fish, and cook it for myself so I could have something to eat. I cherish this experience and wouldn't trade it for the world. That is one thing my father taught me how to do, and I love him even more for it. I couldn't focus in school because my life was hell and nobody could figure out what was going on, so they thought I had a mental illness. They had me medicated on psychotropics from kindergarten until I was 18. They had me seeing counselors and professional help. And when I turned 18, I told them I was done with medication and doctors because all everyone was doing was fucking my head up even more and causing further confusion. My first suicide attempt was at 6 years old when I took an entire bottle of medication because I wanted to be a good kid. I had to have my stomach pumped. I am glad I had this experience because it shows me that someone cared enough to save my life. My parents divorced and I blamed it on myself because that is what children do when they lose a parent. I am grown up and more wise. Now I realize that it was necessary in order to prevent further abuse and there was no way to save that relationship. My mother had piece of shit boyfriends that molested my sisters, talked shit to me, and made me feel worthless. I had a knife at my throat once in front of one of my mom's boyfriends, and he shoved me out to the hallway outside of the apartment with the knife and told me to do it outside because he didn't want to clean up the mess. I am glad I had this experience because it reminds me that I am strong, because I had stopped myself from killing myself and threw the knife away. My uncle that I loved forced me to play with and suck his dick when I was really young, in the back of his van. Nobody believed me that this happened. I now am confident he was molested when he was younger and only acting out his pain. I am glad to have this experience because it now provides me insight into pedophiles and why they do what they do. I can find it in my heart to love them. When I was in middle school, I got beat up every day in North Portland, so I skipped all of middle school and hung out on the streets with the bums because it was safer. I learned a lot during this time from the streets. I also forgive the bullies because they were obviously acting out their own pain and projecting it onto me. I was convinced my entire life that something was wrong with me. I couldn't understand or reconcile why there was so much hate and judgment toward me, that there had to be something wrong with me. I struggled with suicidal thoughts for more than 25 years of my 34-year life. I have saved my own life countless times, and I am stronger each time for it. Nobody could ever convince me that I am weak or a pussy, because I am still here breathing. I am currently living in one of my vehicles and have been for several months now, even though I pay rent, working and supporting my family, and I am kept from my home because of allegations which haven't even been proven out in the court of law, waiting for a trial which could potentially result in a judgment which will end the life I have worked so hard for. I have the potential of becoming a felon, going to prison, and losing my earning potential to support my family, even though I am dedicated and committed to improvement. The American justice system would rather see me sent to prison and rot instead of helping to ensure I remain a useful and functional contributor to society. The American justice system does not take into account why I did what I did, whether I am guilty or not. It only cares about finding blame and punishing. To make it worse, most are so brainwashed that they think that the American justice system actually works, when all involved know it is broken, yet almost nobody is working to change or improve it. It has been pretty much the same for 200 years, with some minor improvements, and it is severely outdated. There are other countries, such as Norway, which believe in rehabilitation before punishment. our system here in America breeds criminals and mental illness. I have spent the greater part of the past 2 decades now trying to understand what is wrong with me. I have read a great deal of books. I have gone to licensed mental health professionals. I have taken many different medications. I have practiced different religions, found God, lost God, learned about different sciences, biochemistry, biology, psychology, quantum physics, spirituality, soul searching, etc. Just this year, I have read nearly 30 nonfiction books. I have tried just about everything I could think of, all in an attempt to continually work to understand and improve myself, to understand my purpose here on this earth. I have questioned who I am, what reality is, what is the point of all of this. I have struggled and strived to become the American image of success which is portrayed everywhere and to no avail. I fall flat on my ass every time, but I do learn something every time. I really should be dead right now, but here I am, standing strong. Now, let me share with you what I have found. I have found that we live in a profoundly sick society, which is permeated by fear, hate, greed, judgment, and a bunch of complacent, sick, and broken people who have lost their humanity and most of the love in their hearts. Most people do not realize that they, too, are mentally ill. They are too busy projecting their pain onto everyone else, blame-shifting, and otherwise getting off on the pain and suffering of others who, quote, deserve it because they made that decision. To think it is acceptable to hurt another human being, regardless of what they did, I believe is a core indication of mental illness. Once I discovered that nearly everyone in our society is mentally ill, that has set me on the path to healing. Yes, you can heal from mental illness and rewire your brain. I will get to that more in just a moment. I call this out, not in judgment against everyone, but in love. I really should and have every right to be a drug addict, alcoholic, deadbeat, or otherwise give up on my life and sink into self-pity and self-loathing indefinitely until I die, from the result of my actions or result to the ultimate painkiller. I could also sit here and blame everyone else for my life and shift responsibility. Don't get me wrong, I have thrown around my share of blame many times, and it only caused me more pain and suffering. I am also not saying I don't catch myself at times wanting to blame others or even speaking/reacting it out. But the difference here is I am aware of that, and I catch and remind myself that my life and my inner peace is my responsibility and nobody else's. I have achieved a degree of success which I believe most agree is more than sufficient to raise a family in this day and age. I have some awesome vehicles and have had the opportunity to have other pleasures in my life, which a majority of individuals will never know because of the cost. I didn't get here through luck. I got here through hard work and perseverance, and a bit of luck. I did not go to college, yet I get to work from home and make a 6-figure income from the comfort of wherever I please, as long as I have internet. But guess what? I am still not happy. I began to question, when will it ever be enough? I am living the American dream. I have the career, family, the dogs, the children, the fancy cars, motorcycle, etc. Why am I not content with what I have? Why do I want more? This sent me into my own Great Depression for several months. This was the beginning of my dark night of the soul and my path to inner peace. I will end this here for now as chapter 1. I hope that others can find inspiration in my words. I will begin work on chapter 2 of my journey and release it as a follow-up in the coming days. I love you all. Namaste.